Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Cioffi on this Wednesday night, May 30th, just a couple of minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, as we get our nightly live stream underway. Hope everybody had a great day, and I brought up front and center to the left the latest U.S. satellite loop, and one of the really interesting things here, and if you're on Twitter, you should be following Stu Ostro because he is very, very good, very knowledgeable, and he showed. I wasn't able to reach out to him and ask if I could use the graphic he put up, but and a hat tip to Anthony Orr, who alerted me to this. But when you look at all the tracks of subtropical storms in the month of May, they have all been pretty much in the easternmost Gulf out east into the Atlantic. This one really stands out because we still actually technically have an identifiable tropical system here. The Hurricane Center has issued its last advisory, and there's still a well-defined circulation, and there's that bright white spot of clouds heading up into the northern Great Lakes. Not the one near the top, but just a little bit below that is the remnant circulation of subtropical storm Alberto, which, by the way, was in the process of becoming tropical when it made landfall, and the Hurricane Center has been actually carrying this not as a subtropical depression, but as a tropical depression, which is also very interesting that it did that while the system was actually more over land than anything else. So Alberto is going to stand out for a number of interesting technical reasons, even though it isn't exactly causing any huge issues. Yeah, it is causing some locally heavy rains, and there has been some flash flooding, but it's on a small scale and not really on a widespread scale, as the first named storm of the season is done, and now we head into the month of June tomorrow, which is the actual official start of the hurricane season out in the Atlantic Basin. So we'll take a look now. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna bring up some regional radars here because we do have some heavy rain this evening that's going on over parts of Florida. You can see some in central and south Florida in the inland areas, and also some rain and some heavier downpours moving through southeastern Georgia and into South Carolina. We still have this tropical flow that is coming up and bringing in moisture from the Caribbean northward. Though the storms are widely scattered versus a huge blanketing of rain someplace, they are scattered. When they get up here tomorrow, they will be on the scattered side. And as we bring up the Storm Prediction Center's map for tonight, they are indicating a marginal risk for severe weather in the area. I'm sorry, you're right, Raymond. Tomorrow's the 31st. Friday is June 1st, okay? After a while, the days all start to seem the same to me. Here's your Storm Prediction Center's map for tonight. Marginal risk. And if you look at the radar echoes in that marginal risk area in northeastern Indiana, Ohio, and southern Michigan, you can see the hook that remains of the circulation of Alberto as it now enters the state of Michigan into southwest Michigan. It'll be there in the next hour or two. We have a larger area of severe weather risk from Colorado east across Kansas and Oklahoma, with an east-west area of slight risk and an area of enhanced risk as well throughout Oklahoma. We are only now beginning to see some of the convection beginning to develop. And in the blue is the latest severe thunderstorm watch that is up for North Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, parts of northeastern New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, and southwestern Kansas. Also, a slight risk of severe weather inside an area of marginal risk showing up from in the northern Rockies from northeastern Utah on up into central and northeastern Montana, and even into parts of Wyoming, and of course a large chunk of southeastern Idaho in a slight risk for severe weather. So some action going on across the U.S., but nothing at the moment that is causing any huge problems, but maybe will be in a few hours. If you are in those areas, we are live streaming here at 7 minutes at the hour of 7 Eastern time, so just make a note of that. If you're watching this later and you're in those areas of severe weather risk, it might be a good idea to check your local National Weather Service current radar at your local National Weather Service office, which you can access through weather.gov. Now, going forward, it is not pretty in terms of the overall pattern. So let's start off with the GFS tonight, where we do have all that moisture. High pressure is off the coast of Maine. We actually had dry air from New England move down the coast, and I had a great day here. So did parts of North Jersey, the Hudson Valley, and much of southern New England and Long Island. But we are going to see clouds move in during tonight as we start to pull the high out to the east, and a bit of a warm front comes up from the south. So you can see the bulk of the rain is really surrounding the low that's sitting over the Great Lakes. While that's going on, we have low pressure in North Texas. You can see that east-west band that forms across southern Kansas and over the Oklahoma Panhandle. That's your severe weather, your enhanced risk area that's indicated by the Storm Prediction Center. And then up in the northern Rockies, with that energy that's up there, you've got some risk of severe weather that's being indicated from northeastern Utah on up into northeastern Wyoming. And the GFS is picking up on that as well. Going into Thursday, the shower activity in the east isn't really all that impressive. It's there, but it's nothing crazy. And then we're going to bring a warm front through here for early Friday. So Friday looks to be a very warm, humid day. Look up to the north, though, near James Bay at the top of the map near Canada. That is the next high building down, and that is going to be bringing in that onshore flow that is going to be really problematic as we go through the weekend. Low pressure is going to form off the Delaware coast and just basically sit there for a couple of days, and it's going to produce some on and off rain Saturday and Sunday, and probably even into Monday, and possibly even beyond that. It might really take a lot to get this thing out of here, because even as we move into Tuesday, we still are showing some kind of low. Now, models were disagreeing yesterday. The European in particular wanted to kick this thing out as it tried to bring a rather deep trough into the northeast, and the GFS said no. And then today, the European basically wants to keep things wet all week long. As we get into Tuesday and into Wednesday, we're still seeing the chance for some rain here because of the fact that you've got low pressure to the south and east and higher pressures to the north, all thanks to this blocking signature that's developing. And we still actually have low pressure off the coast late in the week before maybe it finally gets out of the way. So this is not going to be a fun stretch of weather for parts of the, certainly from southern New England southward into the mid-Atlantic states, starting from Saturday and lasting into at least Tuesday of next week and possibly into Wednesday. It just is not going to be fun with that northeast wind. If it's not raining, we're going to be dealing with a lot of clouds. I just want to point out that as the GFS once again in its long range keeps showing, been showing a tropical system for the last couple of days coming into the Gulf of Mexico, and it has it here again. Let me just advise and remind everybody that prior to the formation of Alberto, we had the GFS doing that for almost 2 weeks before it finally got into a time frame where it was actually happening. So what I would suggest you follow the rule that I follow, which is until other models pick this up, you really can't put any kind of value to what the models are doing in the long range with respect to tropical systems. And even when those longer range models pick it up, you want to kind of wait till at least we're inside day 6 in the medium range before we start to take things more seriously. We're going into that season now. You're going to start to see these models spin up things left and right, and you can't jump up and down every time it does that, because you're just not going to really accomplish very much from that respect. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to try to bring up, let's see if I have some success here. Let's see if, and I think I can. So let's bring up I'm going to bring up the paint box, and let's start with some of the upper air. So if you guys just give me 1/2 a second here, and I'll bring up the wide upper air of North America, so we can take a look at the pattern that we are dealing with. And I'm going to jump to Sunday. All right, almost there, folks. And let's bring this up to the top. There we go. All right, we got the paint box going here. So let's get it into a nice size so that we can all see here. So we're looking at the upper air of across North America, and hang on, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so we've got the upper air map here of North America. Here is the jet stream pattern on Sunday, and I'll show you what stands out. First and foremost is your blocking high, which is near Iceland here. And it's right in there is the center of the high, and the big ridge that is building, kind of fingering back westward, and it just sort of pins everything to its west and south. You've got troughing in eastern Canada out to a low that is sitting around 50 north and 50 degrees west, right in there. You have energy coming into the plains and Midwest that kind of undercuts a strong ridge that builds up in through southeastern Canada towards Hudson Bay. So you wind up with a fairly strong surface high here. And of course, on top of that, the energy that undercuts is low pressure that is sitting off the mid-Atlantic coast. So the end result of all of this is the fact that you've got this surface onshore flow that's going to be so dominant for so long. The southern extent of the westerlies in the jet stream are pretty far south, going down into North Florida and then offshore out to the east. This is because of the fact that we've got this strong block that's up in near Greenland and Iceland, and until that gets out of the way, it's going to be really difficult to just get any kind of meaningful improvement in the overall pattern in the Northeast, particularly not so much in northern New England, where you'll probably just be cool and dry, but when you get towards southern New England, on southward into the mid-Atlantic states, this is going to be very problematic. It may not rain all the way through, but you know what? It's going to be cloudy at the very least just about every day, and there will be on and off rain to deal with starting on Saturday and heading into Wednesday of next week. Just not pretty at all. As far as rainfall is concerned, I just want to show you what WPC says, and this is the latest 7-day rainfalls. And over the next 7 days, you can see the northern extent, start to get into those lighter blues. That's where you see, at least an inch of rain. And the purples, when you're talking about 1.5 inches to maybe 2.5 inches. But we don't see any kind of huge extreme amounts. This is going to be more annoying than anything else, and very frustrating if you're caught under this, because you're just going to want it to go away. It's just not fun. I try to remind everybody because of the fact that every spring is like this, and it is just at least for the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic states, as someone pointed out on one of the chats we had here. Spring in the Northeast is just a god-awful season. I think of all the seasons, that by far is the worst. I think autumn is probably the best. Summer is summer. It's hot. It's humid. You want the hot weather. A lot of folks want the very warm or hot weather to come so they can do all those nice summery outdoor things. And then when it finally gets here, you can't wait for it to go away. I guess it's one of those ironies of life. Europe, we haven't taken a look at you folks across the pond in a while, so why don't we take a look and see what's happening there? And we have actually a fair amount of rain going on across parts of Italy and back through France and northern Spain, a little bit of rain in England and up into parts of Northern Ireland. Looks like you'll get into some rain during the day on Thursday, along with just about all of France and northern areas of Italy. Some showers come back on Friday. Probably will be some thunderstorms in the mix there. Looks like a spinning low weakens as it moves southeast of Ireland and drops southward. High pressure kind of tries to build over the top, but the overall pattern is beginning to really look like June in Europe with, let's call them summery showers and thunderstorms that develop in the afternoon and evening. We're not seeing any really wide spread areas of rain. We're not seeing big lows coming in off the Atlantic, so the atmosphere is really kind of transitioning over into late spring, early summer here. Well, we can look at the temperature profile in terms of below and above average, and then I'm going to come back to the U.S. and do the same thing. But you can see that much of Europe is going to be above average, or is starting above average here, and actually stays above average through the weekend. Pockets of below average in southern Spain and in northwestern Africa. But on the whole, the weather across Europe will remain rather warmer than average into next week. There's quite a bit of cold air up in Eastern Europe and in Siberia that seems to be very stubborn and not getting out of the way. There's a prolonged area of below average temperatures there that finally breaks as we get deeper into the month of June. So no crazy cool air in the east, in Europe, no crazy warm air either. Now in the U.S., I'll go back to the U.S. now, and we'll take a look at the temperature profile here. And because of that blocking, you're going to want to anticipate the fact that temperatures in the east are going to wind up being below average once we get through, once we get into this weekend. Just looking here now, we're at above average in general away from the coast as we move into Friday. By the way, it hit 90 degrees today in Buffalo. It was the highest temperature ever recorded in the month of May. So location means everything. And for Buffalo, they were getting a downslope wind coming down from Canada, which just heats them up. And as I said, the temperature got to 90 degrees, the highest ever recorded in the month of May. And then finally, as we get into Sunday, you start to see some below average temperatures in the daytime, certainly with that ocean wind. Same for Monday. The anomaly starts to increase a bit more. And going into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, you can see below average temperatures throughout much of the eastern part of the United States. It's warmer than average west of the Mississippi to just west of the Rockies. And then it's a little bit below average along the west coast, and it's still below average here as we finish up the first 7 days of the month of June, and longer range then the above average briefly comes back, and then it's near or below average again in the longer term period. So the month of June definitely going to be starting off cooler than average for much of for the Northeast at least, and then for the northern Mid-Atlantic states, certainly not on Friday, but beginning later on Saturday, and particularly going into next week, we're going to see some cooler than average temperatures. So I'm going to join everybody on the board tonight. Good to see everyone here. Yeah, I know my gateway model does kind of spin up something in the East Pacific, which would be the first one of the season there, where the Atlantic right now is running ahead of the Pacific. Let's see. Just let me come back to the top. So a collective hello to everybody, by the way. and the gloom and doom, the gloom, yuck, and the humidity all day. High temperature was 70. This is in northern Monmouth County, Israel. If I remember correctly, you're in Lakewood, Frutiger. You got the clouds that were very stubborn today. Those clouds are starting to back westward. I noticed some of the temperatures along the New Jersey shore were now down in the 50s thanks to the wind off the water. And I don't think, Raymond, you're going to see strong storms on Friday, but you might see some heavy downpours. I don't think we're going to have a severe weather risk in our area with this next cold front that's coming on through. T-Bear, turned out to be a decent day in Northeast PA. You had sun virtually all day, and in areas that had sunshine, you saw temperatures climb up to the 80-degree mark, while areas that stayed in overcast skies all day didn't get out of the 60s. It was kind of an upside-down day with temperatures, with warmer temperatures as you go north because of the fact that you had full sun, and cooler temperatures as you went south because of the cloud cover. And that's how it happens this time of year. And I did get warmer than you were in Lakewood, New Jersey. Agreed, Israel. And green fires with me on spring being the worst season. Thank you, Barbara Ryan, for the kind words. Really appreciate it. Just kind of checking this out, seeing what you all have to say. Again, my gateway, take the GFS in the long range with showing tropical systems in any of the models with a huge grain of salt. I wouldn't take it seriously until if they all show it at the same time, then definitely you'll start to pay a little closer attention. Is the cooler than average start to June a symptom of all the cloudiness we're seeing? Anomalous Howard asks. And the answer to that is yes. The clouds play a huge role this time of year in keeping temperatures down. They cut the sunlight. You could have, if you have a lot of cloud cover without an onshore wind, that is going to keep your temperatures lower. It has a bigger impact this time of year because of the fact that you could have, areas of full sun just to your north that they get much higher because of the heat, the strong sun. Now add to that a wind off the ocean, and if you're near the coast, you not only have the cloud cover but the ocean wind, and you could see, easily a 25 or 30 degree disparity in temperatures over a relatively short distance once you get out of the cloud cover. In fact, the impact of the marine influence here is still very strong. We had temperatures that were up well into the 80s to near 90 yesterday. Today, we had most of the area that was impacted by the ocean wind and the cloud cover saw temperatures that were a good 15 to 20 degrees cooler from 24 hours ago. So it does make every bit of difference this time of year. Yes, we did start seeing what became Alberto since May 5th. But look how long it took. The GFS just kept spitting it out on every run and never really brought it closer to reality until we saw it on the other models. And then it suddenly came inside 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. That's when you start that's when your antenna should go up a little bit. Right now, though, I would just kind of lay back and really not pay too much attention for it. When will this blocking, Dio Nankamar, when will this blocking signature end? Well, at least from the standpoint of the teleconnections, which I don't have up on the board right now, but I'll just tell you that the teleconnections, which yesterday kept the North Atlantic Oscillation negative right through June 11th and 12th, the new teleconnections paint a different story. In fact, you know what? I can bring that up here. Let me see if I can do that real quick for everybody. Just give me 1 second, because I do have the paint box up, so I might as well use it here. Okay, so there you go. So we'll bring up. I got the teleconnections here for you. And here's your PNA. There's been troughing out in the west, and that's been keeping the PNA negative. But here's your NAO, which, for this time of year, that's a fairly strong reading of minus 100, is negative up until about June 7th, and then it goes slightly positive. This was based on the overnight runs from last night. So, models are changing as we go forward. So we may see something different when we look at this tomorrow. Yesterday's had it negative all the way through, so now it wants to make things start moving along again after about January. Shows you where my head's at. June 7th and 8th. So we'll see. A lot of times, this time of year especially, blocks once they get set in may wind up hanging around longer than you think. And it becomes, as I said, a very frustrating process because it does take its toll personally to sit in cloudy weather day in, day out, and you want it to go away. Kev Dreadful, thank you so much for hitting Super Chat tonight. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's a cup of coffee for me, and I'm going to very much enjoy it. Johnny Quest, 5 to 10 inches of rain in western Virginia due to the mountains. There was some orographic effect, certainly, with all this tropical moisture around, and we're seeing some shower activity tonight scattered around over parts of Virginia. That is going to be moving northward and heading up my way, but it's going to weaken as it moves northward. I was hoping that we wouldn't get too much rain. Folks do have some stuff to do, and at least if we can manage to keep things mostly dry today and Friday, you can get some stuff done. Some people are still. I just been barely now caught up from getting my spring cleanup done, due to the fact that the winter was so long and never even was able to have a chance to get all the fall stuff down because it got so cold so quick back in December. So we'll keep shower activity for my area to a minimum. Late in the day Friday, there might be some showers and thunderstorms when the cold front comes through, and that's going to start the process of setting up the evil, as I've called it, the evil onshore flow. Okay, folks, let's call it a night at this point. There is no Joe Rayo, Joe Cioffi show tonight because Joe is off, and he will be back tomorrow, so we will both be back tomorrow, and that's our usual Joe and Joe weather show on Facebook at 9:15. Tonight I may do it solo if I'm feeling up to it. There isn't too much happening, but I'll probably sneak something on at 9:15 Eastern Time on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. I am going to try, when Joe and I do these live streams, it is, we've got to kind of sync our days together. We are both here at the same time, but we're both doing different things, so we try to sync it up. So I'm going to attempt to try to get Joe on more with these Facebook live streams going forward, particularly when we have stormy situations going on. Johnny Quest, thank you so much for hitting the super chat button tonight. Really appreciate it greatly. I get a cigar from you, so I got my cup of coffee and my cup of cigar and my cigar, and I'm going to be happy tonight for the rest of my shift. And glad that you are on board, by the way, as I am happy with everybody that is here. Okay, Lucas Belmore. Presque Isle County, Michigan is relatively nice. It's chilly near Lake Huron, about 58 degrees. But once you drive 5 miles away from the lake, it gets into the 70s. It's a perfect example, Lucas. The same thing happens here along the New Jersey shore, on Long Island. The same thing when you move away from the South Shore. You only have to go a handful of miles and go inland, and you could see huge temperature disparities, which disappear. They tend to disappear when we get into late July and August. Once the water temperatures get into the 70s, the sea breeze becomes almost a non-factor, except on the hottest of days. And even then, it's tough for the sea breeze to come in a synoptic setup where temperatures climb well up into the 90s. You have to literally be standing on the edge of the water to feel the cooler air. And you can see those beach temperatures on a west or a northwest wind climb up to the mid and upper 90s, and there's no sea breeze to be found. But until we get to that point, we will just have to deal with the marine influence. Water temperatures here where I am off the New Jersey, Long Island shoreline are still in the mid 50s. Israel, there's no the Plain Joe show. I guess I could, but I'm just basically going to repeat what I did now because it's only 2 hours from now. I tell you, if there was, when there's weather going on, I certainly would upload myself solo, but I don't think I'm going to do it tonight, if only because of the fact that I'm going to just pretty much repeat what I'm saying. But with the Joe and Joe show coming back tomorrow, just hang tight, and those I will definitely upload, and I will do that, by the way, on nights when Joe and I are not doing the show together here. I will definitely upload the Joe and Joe show to the video library here on my YouTube channel. Delvin, you've been here the whole time. Okay, awesome. Good. You speaking of Seabreeze, you up where you are in Boston? That's such a huge deal up in central and northern New England. Howard Vanderhoff, I'm doing good. Nice to see you here. They kick you out of Facebook jail yet? I'm sorry, Howard. I had to bring that up. But good to see you here. You're, of course, always welcome here on my YouTube channel. All of you are always welcome here on my YouTube channel. Really enjoy having everybody here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, Phil, I guess you don't have to water. You definitely, you'll save on your water bill and air conditioning right now, not having to mow your lawn or run the AC. And speaking of the AC, Joe and I both have broken air conditioners, and I got the AC guy over right now at my house, hopefully getting it fixed. And nothing more frustrating to have your air conditioning go down on a hot May day on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, when you can't get a hold of anybody until I did today. So that's where I'm at. All right, folks, have a great evening. Thanks for being here. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, and real quick, just want to just make a note of the fact that of the Amazon link that's on the descriptor to this live stream and on the descriptor of the videos that will be on the video library. You can support my channel if you use that link to do your Amazon shopping. You don't have to buy what's recommended there. Just if you do use the search box, if you're looking for something and you wind up buying it, it's a good thing. You get your stuff. Amazon will throw me back some coin for bringing them to sale, and everybody's happy. I'm a participant in the Amazon Services LLC program, which is an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for this channel to earn fees by linking to Amazon.com and affiliated sites. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow.